record here. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So, welcome everybody to this episode of So Much JENergy. It's me, Jenny McKinney, and I am so excited for our guest today. This is Kaz Dukes, all the way from Europe. Welcome, Kaz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing before I hopped on here because I thought, when you get online with somebody who's like spiritual or into energy, and I thought, oh gosh, what if like I have to brush my teeth, I got to put on deodorant, I got to do like all the energy things.
I've tried to colour coordinate with you today, look.
I know, I love it. I love it. Your hair looks amazing. So for those who can't see it, Kaz just had her hair done. How would you explain the color of your hair?
A bit of a mismatch at the minute.
I
it, it will gradually fade to the colour that I asked for. So
Oh, gotcha. So it started off super bright. So would you say
yes.
it's
No,
like a
the pink will stay bright. The
yeah.
top will fade a little bit.
Okay. So is the top, what color would you call that?
It will be eventually ash blonde.
Ash
So it
blonde.
will, yeah, a very pale blonde, like a silvery blonde.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
eventually it needs to wash out a little bit more yet.
Yeah,
So
I love it. People were
I've got
so funny when you had asked for what color they liked for you, and people were like, "No, don't pick whatever." And I was like, "Oh, I thought that was a good choice, but okay."
Yes, I do. I love colour. I just love colour. So I feel very lost if I've not got colour in my hair.
Yes, I feel very naked and
Yeah.
uh very not authentic. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in
This is
Europe,
me.
just about your hair, I mean there's more to Kaz than your hair, but just asking about your hair,
Hopefully.
do you do you find that people share their opinions about your hair with you?
Only if I ask. I
Oh,
tend to
okay,
just put
good.
it out there as a talking subject.
Okay,
No.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
I ask people's opinions.
Oh,
You know,
gotcha.
it's just a way of interacting with people and keeping everybody in the loop and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do make my own decision in the end. Or should I say my daughter makes the decision because she's my hairdresser. So she makes the final decision.
Oh, I love that. I was laughing this morning because I went home so we are in Tennessee, but I went home to Michigan and I went to my sister's salon and she's like, "Who cuts your hair?" And I said, "Oh, I go to this amazing place called my bathroom." And everybody
Bless.
was laughing. I was like, "That place is obviously not doing a good job, are they?"
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was very uneven.
Yeah, I must say, I've got to admit, my daughter's pretty good at what she does.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
It is.
So, yeah, so why don't you tell our audience about you? Because I
Well,
will just keep going on about you if you don't share. So I want you to share about you, and then we'll chit chat.
well, what would you like to know? Let's start
Oh,
there. What would
okay.
you like to know?
Let's talk about. So you're a medium. You do
Yes,
mediumship, and you do
I do.
mediumship mentoring.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
So
where
how?
my passion lies. That's
Yes.
predominantly what we do.
Yes. Yeah. And you say we. Who's we?
It's myself and my husband,
Yeah.
who we call Dolly. He is male. A lot of people think that he's female, but he's not female. That's his spirit name. That's the name he goes by when we're working with spirit.
Oh, okay.
Um, so yeah, it's myself and him. We run a Acorn Academy of Mediumship. So out of Acorn Academy of Mediumship, we teach everything from beginners right through to trance work, evidential work, healing work, whatever people need.
Yes.
We try to facilitate for everybody.
Yeah. And how would you describe your mediumship journey? Like, how did you get started and how has it
Oh,
been since then?
it's been a long journey, and it's the most amazing thing ever. Um, for myself, we both have different stories, but for myself, mine started as a child when I used to see spirit a lot as a child, but was always sort of told, don't be so silly, when people are dead, they're dead.
Right.
things like that, which is other people's belief. And I grew to sort of keep it quiet a little bit.
Sure.
My parents would always say we knew you were a bit different, which at the time was a bit scary. But now, I don't mind being different. So
Right.
it started quite naturally as a child, and I used to be able to astral project.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
used to be able to do it at will. So I would go to bed purposely. My parents would think that I was reading, but I wasn't. I was actually spending time with those in the spirit world. And I loved it. I loved it. I used to be able to float around and things. It was awesome.
So so if you could describe astral projection for our audience in case they don't know what that means, how would you describe that?
Yeah, it's where your spiritual side of you, your spiritual body, just lifts from your earthly body and you go on a little journey. So a lot of people do this at night when they go to sleep. They'll go on a journey. Some people, you may have heard some people talk about being feeling like they're being pinned in bed at night where they can't move. And that's just the act of the spiritual body reconnecting with the physical body, and it feels like a pressure holding them down.
Mm,
Some people usually are too asleep to even notice it. But
okay.
it's at the point where with astral projection you are aware of where you're going.
Yes.
You can go on a journey, you can meet people, and life is just easy because there's no boundaries with the physical body.
Yes. I have actually astral projected a lot of times. I same thing. I would love that. When I would go to sleep, because if I wasn't happy in my physical body,
Yeah.
let's say if I was bloated or had bad cramps or pain in my body, it was so easy to just kind of check out and
Yeah,
leave. And
absolutely.
then yeah, and then just have these amazing experiences out in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. And there was never any fear with it.
Yeah.
Never once was I afraid, sort of.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess too, it would be interesting. Did you ever question once you got back, like, how did I know where to go? Like, how did I get there without a
I've got
body?
to admit, I never even questioned it. It was for me, as being a child, I thought everybody could do what I was doing. So to me, it was such a normal thing to do.
Yes,
So there was no need to question it.
yes,
It was only as I got a bit older and I started to talk about it that I realized, perhaps not everybody can do this. And that's where obviously, this being a little bit different came into play.
right,
So it was easier not to talk about it.
yes. And then did your mediumship have an effect on you, like in your daily, like when you went to school or work?
No, I've got to admit, no, not until my grandfather passed away when I was 12 years old. Loved him to pieces, absolutely loved him to pieces. And I saw, when I must have been about 14, and I saw him quite clearly, as clear as me and you are looking at each other now.
Yeah,
It was the one and only time I've ever seen spirit in a solid form, in that way. And I was so happy to see him. And I was only young. I ran back to my mum and dad's and, said to them, I've just seen my granddad. And again, it was, don't be silly, he's gone. That couldn't have happened. Things like that. So you learn to think, as a child, you feel you're doing something wrong then, that what you are doing, what is a natural part of you, isn't normal. So again, you learn to suppress it.
yes.
So and again, that's what I did. And then I eventually, at the age of 21, I think I was, a friend of mine said, you need to go to see this medium. And it was like, what's one of them? I've got I've got no idea what one of them is.
Right.
Because we were never involved in it as a family.
Yeah.
Anyway, she persuaded me to go to this medium. And I got no idea what to expect. I was a bit nervous, thinking I don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
There was a bit of fear there as well. Yeah, I must admit that there was a little bit of fear there.
Sure.
And just before I went, I'd broken an ornament that I'd had on my in my bedroom for a long, long time. It was a really cheap ornament. It was nothing special, but it was one that I'd had a long time. And this lady, when I went to see her, she was talking about, you know, the spirit world. And she said, one day you're going to be doing this. And I was like, excuse me. But one day you're going to be doing what I do. And I'm just thinking this, she's not right. You know what I mean? And before I left, she said, just hang on a minute. They want me to give you something. And she went into her room and fetched an ornament out that was identical to the one that I'd just broken.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I just
And
got chills on my
that's
back.
exactly what I said. Oh my God.
Oh my
And at that
gosh.
point, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know everything. I wanted to learn, I wanted to study, I wanted to, and that's when it really kicked off for me,
Yeah.
and
That's
it was
amazing.
through that.
Yeah.
So
It's so interesting when you're almost just like thrown into it. Like
yeah,
you didn't even know how
mm,
ready you actually were, and then you're just literally thrown into it, and then it
yes.
takes off.
It was a turning point,
Yeah.
absolutely a turning point.
Yeah.
And I wanted to soak it all up then. I wanted to know everything there was that I could possibly learn about it in every form. And I think that was the day that my life altered really. And it
Yeah.
became more about me learning and wanting to do this.
Yes.
You
That's
know,
amazing.
I hung on to her words that one day you'll be doing this.
Yeah.
And it
I
took a
love that.
long time, years and years and years
Yeah.
of learning, practicing, studying, sitting, mainly sitting,
Right.
things like that, going from tutor to tutor, and then realizing that actually, even though I'm doing myself out of a bit of a job here, the spirit world are the best people to learn from.
Yes.
We all need that guiding hand, that little bit of, support within it.
Yeah.
How I became a teacher or a tutor, again, was never in the plan, never in my plan anyway.
Yeah.
I started to do in paranormal investigations and loved it, absolutely loved it. And the lady who ran the company that I worked with for her, she said, "Can you train some people up to be a team leader with us?" And it was like, "Well, yeah, if you tell me what to do, I'll do it." Because some of my friends used to go to the events.
Sure.
So there was about 8 of us all together, and we made a little home circle. So she would tell me what to do. I would then go and do it with them. And she gave me I think it was about 11 weeks we'd got to train people up just to do an investigation.
Okay.
But at the end of that period of time, they didn't want to stop, and neither did I. So we decided just to carry on sitting. And that's
Ooh.
basically how it started. So that was my first home circle, which then expanded into 4 different home circles over the years. And it just sort of fell on my shoulders, really. And it just went on from there and got bigger and bigger. And we became Acorn Academy of Mediumship. And really, that's how it all started.
That's amazing. And were you with Dolly during this whole time? So like from
No,
the time that you saw the medium, had no, you had
no,
not been with Dolly.
no, not at all.
No.
Dolly joined us, now then, probably 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay.
And he sort of came into Acorn Academy, and he's just enhanced with his
Yeah.
own style, his own unique techniques, his humour, everything
Yes.
else that he brings to it. And he's just brought in another aspect, which is really what it's done. It's opened it up for us.
Yes.
So whereas his passion is more at the evidential mediumship, whereas mine goes down the trance states, that's my passion. We both work together, we work separately.
Yes.
We both do crossover as well, and he does trance, teaches trance as well, I do evidential. So we try to bring an all-round element to it.
Yes. And I want to add real quick so the classes that I took with you, it would be so amazing because Dolly would just he was so patient, right? Like you're teaching the class and he's just observing and but oh my gosh, when he jumps in and asks like one question, it's it's such a game changer of the question because it just totally blows your mind. It's like he was waiting, and then Spirit, he gets
Yeah,
a question
absolutely.
and then assesses the group and then just blammo puts a
Yes,
question out there and you can feel the whole shift of the whole group.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got such a good connection to the spirit world.
Yes.
And they work with him. They work with all of us uniquely in our
Right.
own unique way. And
Yes.
that's absolutely how it should be because we are all unique.
Yes.
And he brings an element to it of, I mean, we love to teach with fun and laughter
Oh gosh,
because
yes.
the more relaxed you are, the easier it is for both the medium and the spirit world.
Right.
So we teach with a lot of fun and laughter. We teach, I think, in a unique way, to be honest, because we don't just tell you what to do, we show you what to do.
Yes, I will say that my mediumship after even just after one class, I think the first class was just a mediumship class. I can't remember what it was about. Um, my very first class was as a group, and I remember, oh my gosh, this just this one thing, if I do this one thing, will change my mediumship. And then I,
Yes.
signed up for, one-on-ones and then my 8 sessions. And then now my mediumship is nothing how it was even just a few months ago.
I think one of the things that we try to do, which is, I think some people have forgotten, they've forgotten about the spirit world.
Yes.
It's all about the medium and it's all about the recipient and the spirit world. They say, come and give me this, come and do this for me, come and they constantly ask of the spirit world, but
Right.
they never look at mediumship from the spirit world's perspective.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that I'm trying, hopefully trying to get people to understand is that it's as much about spirit, if not more about spirit, and the recipient. It should never be about the medium,
Right.
ever.
Right.
Okay. The
Yes.
medium is part of it, but it should not be about how good the medium looks or how much information they can bring forward.
Right.
It should be about what happens in that beautiful moment of bringing spirit and the loved ones back together again.
Yes. Yes. And also, just a side note, I just wanted to share that the first few times we worked together, I kept crying just because of the open open communication. But not only that, like I feel like the space that you hold and the energy you bring is very like I can feel your passion and the love for the spirit world comes through.
Yes.
And I guess I don't know how you would take this as a compliment. It really is. Like motherly. Like your
Yeah.
energy is so motherly, and I almost feel like you hold like motherly sacred space, if that makes sense.
Um, I think that probably comes from the fact that I genuinely care about you and your journey.
Yes.
I'm not just saying that as, to
Right.
sound motherly.
Right.
I
Right.
genuinely want the students to do well.
Yes.
And I want to celebrate their successes with them.
Yes.
So I want to know when they've had a good demo. I want to know when they've had a good reading. I want to know if they're struggling so that I can hopefully, along with the spirit world's help, you know, pick them up again. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm laughing so hard because I remember you asked, when you said, "Okay, explain to me how do you do your mediumship now?" And then I explained to you, and you said, "How's that going?" And when you asked me that, I was like, "Oh, well, I thought it was good." And then just the question was, it was so funny because it made me reflect on, okay, this is how I'm doing it now, and then the things that you shared with me made it 5 million times easier. Like, why are we working so hard? You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah, because mediumship should be natural. It should be easy and it should be natural.
right.
But what we do as human beings, we complicate everything we do,
Yes.
and we would never want to step out of that comfort zone,
Right.
but if we could just step back a little bit and,
Yeah.
and look at it from a different, and all I do is offer you a different perspective. You are the one who has to self-assess, is that working for you?
Right. Well, it was funny. So, an example for our audience would be at one point, Spirit started playing Hangman with me with names. So when I would, I would just wait for the spirit to give me information, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, she's not getting it. So they would just kind of draw on a board and then give me a hangman, but they would give me, let's say if the name is Steve, they would give me an S and an E for first and last, and then make me guess the in between. And when I told you that,
I
your,
remember that well.
your question was, well, have you ever just asked the spirit, what is your name? Like, it was like, no, actually, I have not. What am I doing with my life? You know? And so it's just, that's an example of like a different perspective, which was
Yes.
beyond so funny. Because why am I working so hard and it's taking up so much time? Right? You're
Yeah,
on limited time.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we complicate things. It's a little bit like driving. We form bad habits, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
And we just get in and it becomes an autopilot of driving. And we do the same a little bit with our mediumship. We're going onto autopilot, and we
Yes.
don't ever step back and just look and say, actually, is my technique actually working for me? Is it working for spirit? And is it working for the recipient?
Right.
I mean, I've got to say the funniest part that I do remember with you, and it was hilarious, was when I said to you, is spirit part of your everyday life and do you talk to them? And you said, yes, I have a meeting with them every morning and I line them up and I tell each one what they're going to be doing that day. And I think my mouth must have opened and my jaw hit the floor and it was like, what? And the question then was, so the spirit world work for you, do they? Instead
I
of
know,
you
and I was
working
like,
for spirit.
like just took my breath away.
Yeah,
Like, and I was just so excited to tell you about my spirit team, and I put them all together, and we have a
yeah,
meeting every day, right? And
yeah.
then all of a sudden you're like, oh, so which essentially was like, oh, so you're the boss, like you're bossing them around, and I was like, oh yeah, that is not good, right? Like,
But again, it's just, I mean, I absolutely cried with laughter over that. But this is part of our learning, isn't it? It's part of our journey.
right,
We have these ideas that we think this is how we should do it, or we think that's how we should do it.
right,
Where all we need to do is just relax and say to the spirit world, I'm here. What can I do for you?
right.
Let them lead it. They know what's needed. They're the intelligent ones.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too. I don't know if you have this experience just with like friends or family or people that know you, but if they kind of reach out and they're like, "Hey, do you kind of get any messages for me?" Just like in a like a non-formal way, just very informal, but they'll just reach out and say, "Hey, do you have a message for me? Like I'm in the, I'm on the struggle bus."
Hmm?
And what my response has been now is there's so much noise in your head that you can do this, you can hear the same message that I would get for you. So just be quiet your mind.
Yeah.
I'm not saying doing a 30-minute meditation, I'm just saying quiet your thoughts, calm down, just like you're saying relax, and you could hear and feel or see or whatever the same message.
Yes. Some
Yeah.
people can, some people can't. Some people can attune, but they don't know how to. And this is the problem. A lot
Yeah.
of people who've never been trained or taught how to do it don't actually know how to connect to spirit.
Okay.
And I don't know whether what it's like over where you are, but in England, a lot of the places, a lot of the churches and circles, they'll say to you, pair up and just say what you're being given. But they don't tell you how to make that connection in the first place.
Gotcha.
Do
Gotcha.
you see
So it's
what I
like you're
mean?
trying to make a phone call, but don't know how to like pick up the phone and dial
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
okay.
And
Gotcha.
this is where we lose a lot of people through it because they feel like they're either a failure or they can't do it. But actually, the only thing is they've just not been shown how to do it.
Gotcha. Yes.
So
Yeah.
maybe when you're saying to those people, just sit and quiet in your mind, explain to them how to do that.
Okay.
how not to look for the message, how to let the message come to them.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Don't try so hard. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Literally
When,
just
when
be.
you're trying, it means that you're forcing it. You are actually forcing that act because you're
Right.
trying to do it.
Yes.
Just allow it to happen.
Yeah.
And that'll make all the difference.
Right. Right. It's funny because as you're telling me that, like, it's funny. I can see almost like when you go into like a forest or the park, and if there's like wildlife, I mean, you wouldn't just like run right up to the deer, and be like, "Hey, let's be friends." You would just kind of be quiet. I mean, I guess you could then look like a crazy person, but if you just be quiet and be still and like calm your energy, the animals would actually come closer to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
just simply sit and just be quiet and
Yeah.
not be almost be a threat, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
then that allows them to come closer to you. And it's very similar with spirit.
Yeah, it feels almost when you're trying so hard, it almost feels like there's a desperate energy, like,
Yes.
oh gosh, like, or a lack
You panic.
energy.
If it's not working, you start to
Yeah.
panic and people go through that as well. When they panic, they try even harder. So it's really counterproductive,
Right.
So part of what we do is teach people how to simply be in that moment and be present in that moment.
Yes.
Let it happen naturally.
Right. Right. And so, do you also teach classes just literally like how to connect with spirit? Like, not
Yeah,
necessarily mediumship, because they may not think they're a medium, but
yes.
do you teach just like a basic type of class for
Yeah, we
people?
teach, to be honest, really, we teach whatever that person needs.
Yeah.
So we're open to anybody coming to us.
Yeah.
We will talk first, find out, what's happening, where they're going, or what we can do with them.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have all the answers because I certainly don't. I really don't have all the answers, but the spirit world do.
Right.
So if I don't know the answer to some, when they come and talk to us, usually it's just hang on a minute, let me find out. I don't
Yes.
know this, but
Yeah.
I'll go and ask.
Yeah.
And usually we will get an idea or an answer from the spirit world.
Yes, I love
And
that.
they know best.
Yeah.
They do know best. But no, we never close the door on anybody.
I love that. I love that so much too because I know that in some of our sessions where I me in charge, right, thought we would be doing
Yeah.
one thing and so did you, and then all of a sudden you're saying, like, "Oh, give me a minute." And then you get a message of, "No, do this with her." And then
Yeah.
that's what we do, and it was it,
Yeah, because they know you, your team, your friends in the spirit world, they know you probably better than you know yourself.
yeah,
So if they know that there's something that's needed within your journey,
right,
and I didn't know you very well. I'd only known you a few weeks through one-on-one,
right,
but so why shouldn't I take advice from those that know you?
right.
So yeah, I may have planned your lesson out. And once again, they come on along and they tear my piece of paper up and say, no, we're not doing that, we're doing this. But I love that. I love the fact that they can come along and do that,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know, because that's
Yeah.
when it works. That's when it truly works, is when it's come from them.
Yeah. Yeah. I love too that every time we work together, each week, and I would have like a get together, a call with my friends, and they're like, "What did you learn this week?" or "What happened this week?" And I would just share like my experience, and they were like, "Oh, that is so scary." Like because some of the things that we
Yeah.
did, I use the word scary. It was never unsafe. There was things that I hadn't thought that I able to do. And
Mhm.
so that's why it would feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
Um, like for
It
example,
shouldn't have been uncomfortable. It should have been more a case of just gently pushing you out of your comfort zone,
yes, but I
stretching
didn't even
your
know it was
awareness
going
a
to
little
happen
bit.
that day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Thank goodness, because I feel like I probably would have blocked or
Yeah.
been even more
Yeah.
panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will never do anything to make anybody feel uncomfortable in the way
No.
that, in that
No,
way.
no. Right.
But unless we place different things in front of you to have a
Yes.
go at.
Yeah.
And how do you know whether you're ever going to be able to do it? And
Right.
you did all of them.
Yeah.
So you were capable of doing them. It was just your own self-doubt.
Right.
Questioned you.
And Spirit's like,
Yeah.
girl, you're gonna learn today.
You know, it's all, you know, I think our job as teachers, as tutors, mentors, whatever term you want to call us, is to almost hold your hand through it
Right.
and say, listen, you know, today we're going to do this. You may never have done it before.
Right.
And the sound of what we're going to do may make you want to just run in the opposite direction. But
Yes.
take my hand and let's do it together and let's show you that you can do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes. Yeah. I feel like too that's almost where the like motherly energy comes in for me.
yeah,
Because it's not there was it's very open, sacred, very judgment free, very supportive,
yeah.
all the things that you would ever want.
I've got no right to judge anybody. The only person that I can judge is myself.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, I'm
Yeah.
only ever responsible for what I do.
Yes.
Same as you're only ever responsible for what you do.
Yes.
So what anybody else does is down to them.
Yes.
Okay. So
Right.
I don't stand in judgment of anybody because that's not my job.
Yeah.
You know, my job is to help you realize that you have got this and that you can be the best version of you. Because
Right.
remember, it's not just a mediumistic journey, it's a personal journey.
Yes.
So the more we learn mediumistically, the more we learn about ourselves as well.
Right.
This is a personal journey.
Yes.
So you will change as a person too throughout it.
Yes. I love that. And I love too that you just won't turn anybody away and you'll get on a call with somebody and let's say mediumship is not their thing or even just them tapping into their own essence and their power and their
Yeah,
own energy. I love that because I feel like there's so many avenues for everybody even though we're talking about mediumship and different styles of mediumship and working with spirit and but there's so many other avenues.
absolutely is. Absolutely is. And one of the first ones that we learn when we're doing this is that the person has to be in touch with themselves as well.
Right.
Okay, because the mediumship comes from your own soul.
Yes.
So you have to learn about yourself, who you are as a person,
Right.
what's your strengths in life and what's your weaknesses in life. And you
Yes.
will then see that within your mediumship. But
Yes.
even on the psychic level as well, you
Yes.
know, we teach psychic how to tune in soul to another person and
Yes.
things like that. But you have to be shown how to do it.
Right.
You know, I mean, everybody in the world's psychic. Everybody is, but it's whether they know how to tune into it that makes the difference.
Yes. Well, and just as you were saying earlier, if somebody had that ability that was wide open and then,
Yeah,
because their programming would have closed that from their parents or the society,
yeah,
I feel like too, most of the things that I've read just in different science books and things like that were and experiences were most gifts and skills are closed off between the age of like 5 and 6.
yeah. They do. They're open usually till roughly, well, round about the age of 6 or 7.
Okay.
And then life takes over and they start to become conditioned by school, by the peers, by
Right.
parents, by religion, by whatever they're in, that starts to be conditioned. So
Yes.
little by little they lose that connection.
Right.
Then it can come back again in the teens for some people. For some, it
Yes.
may never come back.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so everybody's different, everybody's unique. So I don't think there is a right and wrong or a specific pattern that this follows.
Right.
But it's, you know, because it is unique. Some people have that as a child and never lose it.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Like our
so
daughter, she turned it off because the spirits just kept talking to her all day every day and she
yeah,
had to turn it off because she had to pay attention in school. And then
yeah,
because she turned it off so much that it's been a little bit harder for her to open back up to it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's slightly different where children are concerned.
Yeah.
because they still have to learn to be children too.
Right.
So we have to be really careful where children are concerned to not dismiss what they're telling you in any way, because to them it's so real.
Yes.
So when these children have pretend friends or imaginary friends, to the children, they are real because usually they can see them. It's
Yes.
just that we can't see them because our ability to see them has diminished.
Yes.
So, but to that child, they could be solidly there as me and you.
Right.
And this is why children get so upset when the parents say, but there's nobody there. And
Yes.
it's, yes, there is. And for them, yes, there is.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful with them, not to destroy that.
Yes.
But also let them know, especially let spirit know, they've got to be a child first.
Right. What I used to tell our daughter when before she turned 5 is I can't see them. I can feel them here, but I can't see them. So what, and then I would ask her questions about them so
Yeah.
that she could give me more information.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if, for anybody that's listening that does have a child that's open and is openly seeing and being aware of spirit, is to listen to them. Just
Right.
listen.
Yeah.
Listen to the child. Don't tell the child that they're naughty. Don't tell the child that that's ridiculous. Things like that. But just listen to them.
Right.
Let them express their mediumistic ability in their own way, in the way they see it through a child's eyes, if that makes sense.
Yes. Do
You
you
know,
do you work with children at all? Do you ever have people bring their children to you almost like as a spiritual counselor?
I've dealt with a few children, not
Okay.
many, I will admit, not many. It's really important that if you are dealing with a child, that number one, you have written permission from the parent,
Yes.
that this is going to take place,
Yes.
and a parent has to be there or an adult has to be there with them.
Sure.
We've had a couple of children, but it's not something that really comes up that often.
Okay. Just asking because I was at a loss and didn't know what to do with our daughter because again I could only feel it and I wasn't hearing things at the time, but with her seeing what she was seeing,
Yeah.
I did get her a spiritual counselor to be able to share those things and just
Yeah.
get different
They
perspective.
they just need to know that they're being believed.
Right.
I mean, with my son, we had a similar experience with my son, who's now 18. But
Yes.
when I used to work and have the home circles many, many years ago, he was only tiny.
Mm.
And he used to have what he called his spirit eagle would come and sit with him. And he used to say to me, Mummy, it's got beautiful coloured feathers. And they were all different coloured feathers on this eagle.
Wow.
So we were like, oh, beautiful, that's lovely, okay. And, we never dismissed it.
Right.
And came a time where my son said to me, my eagle came to me last night and it was only tiny. And I said, okay. I said, did he talk to you at all? And he said, yes, he taught me how to focus.
Oh,
And at that point, I'm thinking, right, okay, now perhaps we need to have a little word with whoever it is who's talking to him,
yeah.
because he's teaching him things that is probably a little bit beyond his comprehension.
Gotcha.
So myself and my husband went into his bed, sat in his bedroom, and we said, could this person step forward? And he turned out to be a medicine man. And this medicine man had like a headband with all coloured feathers in it. So the first thing we said to him was, why do you show yourself to my son as an eagle? And the response was, if I came as a man like I'm showing myself to you, it would scare him. But he'll never be afraid of an animal.
Oh, I love that.
So that was why. And we said to him, why do you come to him when we're downstairs working?
Yeah.
Because he said, I look after him.
Oh,
I'm here to protect him.
yeah.
And I thought, wow, how beautiful is that?
Right.
His medicine man was so open and honest.
Yeah.
We didn't, and that was all the conversation was. Okay, I'm happy now. Oh, we trusted what he said,
Right.
and that was that. But my son grew out of that and lost that as well.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. That's amazing. I love that. And I love too that if some of the listeners, just like you're saying, have children or have abilities they haven't touched into, where can they reach you to just set up like a Do you call it like a discovery call or just a chat or?
Yeah. They can, if they go on to the Facebook page or the website, they
Okay.
can book themselves in for a free chat.
Okay. And that's through
There are,
Acorn
yeah,
Academy?
and that's through Acorn. It's through Kaz Dukes
Oh,
on.
gotcha.
It's
Okay. Okay.
www.kazdukes.co.uk is the website. Through
Perfect.
there, they can access all the links,
Perfect.
and there's a contact page as well through there.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the time with children, it is just listen to them.
Right.
Don't make judgment because we're not seeing and feeling and sensing what they may be feeling and sensing. And the worst thing we can do really is say to them, don't be silly,
Right. Right. Because then they close
because
it off. It closes
they
it.
not only will they close it off, they will learn to not trust their own feelings.
Yes. And why share that? Because nobody will believe me.
Yes.
So then
Yeah.
they start to keep everything
They'll
in
hide it.
and
They
they're,
will
yes.
withdraw from it.
Right.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
just be said. If a child came to you and said, "Mummy or Daddy, I'm upset," you'd sit with them and say, "Tell me why.
Right.
What's making you upset?" And you just listen to them. And this is no different if they're saying, "I have a friend who wants to sit at the table with me."
Right.
Okay, tell me about this friend.
Yeah.
Just be open. And
Right.
it's hard because not a lot of adults also, especially if they don't believe in this sort of thing, that's really hard.
Right.
Really hard.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, there's a lot of help out there for this sort of thing.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
make sure that you go to somebody who's recommended rather than, you know,
Yeah. Just Googling somebody.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Uh okay. So I'm so excited because well, even if you're not in this area, so you live in where do you live?
England,
England.
in the
Yes.
centre of England.
Yes, England. And Kaz is going to be, well, I would guess I would call it like a US tour because you're coming over here twice, right?
This year I'm over there twice,
Twice.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are lucky enough to have Kaz coming here. So she will be, so we're in Johnson City, but she's coming to Kingsport and is going to offer, we're going to have a 2 full day workshop.
Yeah,
So it'll be Friday, June 27th. We'll have like a little meet and greet that night, like 7 to 9. And then the 28th, June 28th, Saturday all day will be evidential mediumship.
it will.
Yep. And then Sunday will be trance mediumship.
It
So,
will.
can you kind of just share with the audience the difference between evidential and trance mediumship?
Yeah, absolutely. With evidential mediumship, it's proof that life is eternal. It's an instant. So it's a three-way connection. It's from spirit, through spirit, to spirit. So that the communicator from the spirit world will talk to the medium will pass that message on to the loved one. So that's evidential mediumship. You're bringing forward that evidence that life
Yes.
is eternal.
Yes.
Whereas with trance mediumship, the spirit world will blend with the energy of the medium. They don't they don't do a Whoopi Goldberg and jump inside them. That's for television. But the
Okay.
two energies will blend together to become one. And what we do is that we offer our voice to the spirit world in a slightly different way. So they
Okay.
will speak through the medium so it becomes a two-way connection.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of fear going on, especially in England at the moment, about trance mediumship, that it's dangerous, that you shouldn't do it. You can get hurt. Absolute coswallop. It's not in the slightest bit to be feared. It's the most beautiful form of mediumship you can get, or it is, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I'm the biggest scaredy cat out there. So if there was anything to fear, I wouldn't be doing it, honestly.
Right. Right.
But what we will try and do for those that, if they wish to come along,
Yes.
they're not going to be put in a position where they are afraid of something.
Yes.
So my job is to take that fear away and give you the enough information so you are no longer afraid of it.
Right.
Okay? Because fear comes from lack of knowledge.
Hmm.
So my job is to give you that knowledge and to pass that knowledge on to you so that the fear subsides. But for those who may have sat in it for a while and sat with trance mediumship, we will look at where you are within it. What can we do to help you take the next step and things like that. So any level can come,
Yes.
even if you're just curious about it, come
Right.
along, just listen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
And
we
you
do.
will learn that there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yes. And we do have limited spots. And so registration is open. You can register at jenny-mckinney.com. There's a booking button on there, so that would save your spot. And then there's payment information down below. If you need to make payment arrangements, let me know. And it's an investment of $300 for the weekend, which is very reasonable. Uh, the last training I went to in Philadelphia was 850. So yeah, this is very reasonable. Very excited about the price point, and you get to hang out with us.
Absolutely, you do. If you think you can handle Jenny.
Right. It's different when, we're online, but like
Yes.
it's a lot of energy, but I love that just creating that safe space and the learning container and
Yes.
holding
Yeah.
that for everybody.
And of course,
I'm
you've
excited.
classified me as a mother, so I will look after you anyway.
Oh gosh, that is so fun. I am so excited, and I'm excited for everybody that gets to reach out to you and learn from you. And
Thank
even
you.
if you're just curious,
Yeah,
feel free to reach out. Or if you have any
absolutely.
questions, we'd love to help. And like
Yeah.
Kaz said, she's passionate about the connection with spirit. You know,
It's about taking away the complications. There's so many complications around mediumship, and we make it harder.
right?
So if it's harder for us, it's going to be harder for the spirit world. But
Yes,
one of the things that, hopefully we will achieve over that weekend is that you will have a greater understanding of the spirit world themselves and how they can work with us,
yes,
in an easy, relaxed, simplified way.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's what we're going to aim for. I'm so honoured that you've asked me to come over and do this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just more excited for, people to learn new techniques, to
Yeah.
see how you teach, just to have that space. I know some of my medium friends are coming to the class. I know that even some people that have already worked with you, they're excited to like be in person because it's way different, when you're in
It
person.
is. It is. It's lovely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
And we're just going to have a great time. I mean, it's going to be 3 days of love and laughter and spirit. And I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, the city might spontaneously combust because it's going to be so much fun. Which there
That's
is
one
a,
way of looking at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a chemical plant in Kingsport. And I thought, oh gosh, is our energy too close to that?
Oh my
Oh gosh.
goodness.
So yes, so get registered. There'll be
Yeah.
links below for, attached to Kaz's website if you want to reach out to her. Get scheduled, just have a chat and see, what journey you would like to take.
Yeah. If they have any questions about it, they can either reach out to you or to me and we'll try and help you to make your decision as to whether it's the right thing for you to do.
Right.
We
Yeah.
want everybody to feel comfortable.
Yeah. But get uncomfortable so you can grow.
Oh, yeah, that comes later.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I just
Thank
love
you
you,
for
and
having me.
yeah, I'm so excited for you to be here in June. I don't want time to hurry up and go by, but I'm so excited and waiting, and June's going to be amazing. And you
So,
also have other classes, just to share with everybody too. So if you're not
yeah,
ready for an in-person event, there are online classes that you offer.
there are. There's quite a few options there. So if you just take a look at the website, see what's on offer at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so
Yeah.
if
Oh,
anybody
and
wants to
side
travel
note,
to Switzerland,
yeah.
they can
Oh.
go to Switzerland and be with us as well.
Oh, that would be magical. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'll see you again soon.
You certainly will. You
I
definitely
hope
will.
you did get to see her soon too.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for inviting me over, and let's enjoy.
Always. Yes. All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
Toots.
Take care.